Good afternoon. It is just a little after 1:30 on your Friday afternoon. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Kyle Kiel here at the Digital Desk with an update on our first alert day that really we've been talking about the last week. This potential for severe weather here coming into this evening. Right now it's quite windy outside. I'm kind of looking out our window here and I can see the bushes kind of swaying in the wind as we're starting to get those wind gusts between 40 and 50 miles per hour. So that's one hazard that we're talking about. And as we take this full, we've got the first alert day for the severe weather going from 6 p.m. to midnight, but really it's going to be an hour or two in any given location here heading into the evening. We're talking an area-wide threat for potential 60 to 80 plus mile per hour winds with the strongest storms. Isolated tornadoes cannot be ruled out. And then we're also watching the potential for large hail. I think hail is certainly a possibility with storms, but I think the largest hail will fall south of the KWQC viewing area. But regardless, this is something that we need to take hour by hour here heading into the afternoon. So here's a look at the severe weather risk. It's a very broad risk, so severe weather outbreak, a likelihood here tonight and even into tomorrow across the southeastern U.S. But from the Twin Cities to the Quad Cities, St. Louis, Memphis, all the way down the Mississippi River to the Gulf Coast, that's where we have that severe weather threat. But here locally, we still have that level 3 to level 4 risk of severe weather. And really, I do like the outline here of the level 4 risk because I think that's where we're going to have the highest potential for significant damage. Now, here's a breakdown of each individual threat. We'll start with the damaging wind. Notice a 45% chance within a 25 mile radius of these areas to see significant wind damage. And notice this hatched area that does indicate significant damage, a possibility with wind gusts above 70 miles per hour. And again, some strong wording coming from the Storm Prediction Center, anywhere from 60 to 100 mile per hour winds. I don't think everyone's going to see winds really above 80 miles per hour, but there could be a few locations, especially south of the viewing area, that do get those 90 to potentially 100 mile per hour winds. I mean, you look outside your window now, and it's already windy. So just think of if you have a line of storms plowing through as well, the dynamics are there for that potential wind damage. Now, as far as the tornado threat goes, notice we're at about a 5 to 10% chance, and you're thinking, okay, that's not a lot. It's not, but in any given day, it's a 0% chance. So when you get up to a 10% chance, yeah, that does get a little more concerning. And then that hatched area there does indicate the potential for EF2 or higher. Most of these tornadoes here are not going to be that strong. Given the current setup that we have, these are going to be brief spin-ups, and they're not going to last too long because those storms are moving fast. But to the south of the Quad Cities, we need to watch the moisture levels here, because if we get enough moisture in there and enough spin with those storms moving in, we could get a couple of isolated tornadoes. So that's going to be a trend that we continue to watch as well. And then a little bit of an update here from this morning. That hatched area for the strongest hail is a little farther south of the viewing area, but still we all have about a 15% chance for some of that large hail, but the higher concern for the larger hail will be south of the TV6 viewing area. But again, this is something that we need to monitor hour by hour here as we head throughout the afternoon. Now, I want to show you real quick the temperatures. We're ranging from the mid 70s to the low 80s. In fact, we've already broken the record high in the Quad Cities. It's now 78 Moline. It was 79, and I think we got a couple more degrees to go, but 78 was the record set back in 2012. So that just goes to show you this isn't very often that we get this warm. But I wanted to show you the dew point here because it is a little more humid, not terribly humid, but relatively speaking, it is a little more humid than what we've seen the last several days. You know, in the summertime, if we saw dew points in the 50s, this wouldn't be a big deal, but here we are in March, and we've got these dew points that are in the lower to middle 50s. But I want you to take note of that drier air here off to the west. That might kind of get in here and lower those dew points a little bit, but all signs point toward maybe dew points kind of pooling in the 50s ahead of this line of storms that does come through here as we head into the evening hours. So real quick, show you the 24-hour forecast. Again, that window of opportunity for storms only an hour or two here as we go into the evening hours. But overnight, we'll see those temperatures drop into the 50s. You see those wind icons tomorrow. A lot of you have St. Patty's Day plans. That's when we are talking about some 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts with temperatures dropping into the 50s. So our very strong storm is just getting out of the Rockies here, and it's going to continue to strengthen. I want you to take note right here, though. This is a development that models haven't really handled well, so we'll have to see how this kind of plays into part of our forecast. But we're starting to see some of those mid to high level clouds blowing off from what were a couple of severe thunderstorms earlier, now moving into portions of central Iowa, northern Missouri. It looks like any of this rain will track to the north, so what this could do is maybe lower instability a little bit here, especially off to the north of the Quad Cities. Also, what it could do is maybe lay out a boundary or two from the earlier storms to increase maybe a severe threat. So we're going to go ahead and take this hour by hour here. Again, that first alert day will be in effect here through midnight this evening. So that's going to be something that we continue to watch. And we're going to move forward here to exact track and maybe answer any of your questions that you might have. And I'm going to see if we can take the weather graphics full here. Maybe we'll be able to do that here in just a moment. But here we are at 6 o'clock in the evening. Again, we are mainly dry. Madison, if you could take that full for me. So we've got that line of storms here out towards central Iowa, developing mainly between about 3 and 6 p.m. Those are going to continue to race off to the east. So here we are at 7 p.m., already making their way into eastern Iowa. Likely at this time, we'll have those 60 to 70 plus mile per hour winds. And even along these lines, we could have a few kinks in the line, indicating some rotation for a couple possible tornadoes. As we move forward to 8 o'clock, we're really taking this hour by hour. This is approaching Burlington, perhaps Wapello, and then heading into Muscatine County as well. The Iowa City area could be getting in on these storms. And they're going to continue to march off to the northeast. So between 8 and 9 o'clock, this will be through Muscatine down toward Monmouth. Galesburg heads up probably around 9 o'clock. Quad Cities around 9 o'clock. We need to be prepared for that potential severe weather. This goes off to the northeast between 9 and 10. So areas like Galena, Stockton, Savannah, Mount Carroll, Clinton, down toward Thompson, Sterling Rock Falls, Kewanee. You'll be getting in on those storms. Notice it'll be clear in the Quad Cities in Galesburg probably around that 10 o'clock hour. And then between 10 and midnight, these storms track to the north and east. Again, these are going to be moving anywhere from 50 to 60 plus miles per hour. So it's not going to be very long that the most damaging part of the storm lasts, but it's not really going to give you much time to take action. And if I had to take a guess, the National Weather Service in the Quad Cities will likely give you well in advance of a warning here. So make sure you have the KWQC First Alert weather app downloaded. You'll get alerts right to your phone. Obviously, if a considerable severe thunderstorm or a tornado warning is issued, you'll get that wireless emergency alert also sent to your phone. NOAA weather radio. Head to the hardware store if you don't have one. That's the best tool. It can be battery powered, so if you lose power, you'll still get those important severe weather updates. This all tracks out of here again well after midnight, and we will be left with some sunshine early in the morning. A lot of cloud cover here on Saturday with those windy conditions. So here's another map just to kind of break everything down for you. Again, 8 to 10 is really that primary concern for the most damaging storms here through the TV6 viewing area. We'll have to watch that tornado threat as well. We are going to get some new information here probably around 3:30 or 4 o'clock from the National Weather Service. I'm going to launch a weather balloon so we can kind of see how the atmosphere is shaping up, not only here at the ground, but above us as well. So this is kind of like a hamburger. You think of the atmosphere as a hamburger. We have to understand what's going on at each layer. We're talking the burger layer, the cheese layer, up toward the ketchup, mustard, lettuce. Each one is very important, especially in severe weather development. So that's something that we're going to continue to monitor here this afternoon, which will really give us an idea, especially here on the hail and the tornado threat, and even the damaging wind threat as well. So it'll kind of show us how much energy that we have built up in the atmosphere as those temperatures do get into the lower 80s. So a lot to keep track of here over the next several hours here. So we're going to continue to track that, and then after that, we will be talking about some cooler weather here heading into Saturday. I know a lot of you have plans for the KSI race, the St. Patrick's Day parade here in the Quad Cities. I know there's a lot of festivals going on all across the viewing area. It'll be very windy tomorrow, a little bit cooler, but again, the primary concern here for severe weather comes after 6 o'clock this evening. We are going to have hourly updates on TV, KWQC TV6. We're also going to be live streaming wall-to-wall essentially, starting at 6:30 on the KWQC live stream, which you can find on our website, as well as on the KWQC News app. And then once we do have severe weather that's imminent in any portion of the TV6 viewing area, Eric Maitland and Kyle Dickens will be on the air wall-to-wall with that important coverage. So we will all have you covered here from the First Alert Weather Center at KWQC TV6. I'm going to go through a couple questions here. And Ryan is asking, will there be a single wave, and once it's gone through, it's done, heading south for spring break? Yes, Ryan. This is just one wave of severe weather. Again, the rain likely only lasts an hour or two. The most severe part of the storm likely only going to last 15 minutes to maybe a half hour, but that's just about it. Oh, Pam's asking about the size of hail or the chance of it. So yeah, Pam, the hail concern is a little bit lower. We have to really watch that dry air off to our southwest to see how that kind of plays into it. I think the higher hail chance will be south of the Quad Cities viewing area, the TV6 viewing area, but we could be talking about at least quarter size hail, some locally higher hail amounts, mainly from Galesburg to Burlington and points off to the south. That's something that we're going to be continuing to watch pretty carefully here. Are you able to give specifics for what to expect in Walcott? Walcott, the main threat is going to be the damaging winds. I think the tornado threat's mainly going to be south of Walcott, but with these line of storms moving through, really there's that potential at any given moment for quick spin-ups along the line of storms. So that's why we have that tornado threat heightened as well. Especially south of the Quad Cities, but any little kink, any little inflow notch in those storms can really get that rotation going. And even if it's just for 30 seconds or a minute, it can quickly drop a tornado, and just as quick, that tornado can go up as well. So that's what we need to watch out for Walcott. I would say between probably 8 and 9 o'clock, 9:30 time frame for Walcott, we'll get those storms in here. How long we got till it hits? So this is coming in, depending on where you're at, AJ, anywhere between 7 o'clock and 11 o'clock. In the Metro Quad Cities, I think really an 8 to 10 time frame looks to be likely, especially more in the 9 to 10 time frame. So we're continuing to get a little more data into the Weather Center here this afternoon to kind of pin down that timing. Cambridge, Illinois, Hope, the threat here for Cambridge probably between 10 and 11 o'clock here tonight for that potential, mainly of damaging wind, but can't rule out a couple of tornadoes. The wind in DeWitt, Krabby Walker is going to be probably, well, right now we're seeing gusts between 30 and 50 miles per hour, but peak gusts could be 50 to 70 miles per hour there. Vicky, tornadoes are not a for sure thing. They're never a for sure thing. We can never pinpoint where exactly a tornado is going to happen, but it'll be a trend that we continue to watch. And then Dan is asking about the derecho. Anxiety is on edge, and I totally understand that. Everyone is very anxious about derechos since 2020. The thing is you're never going to hear us go on air and be like, you know what, we got a derecho coming tonight, because derechos are only classified after the fact because they have to meet certain criteria. So just treat this as what it is. I mean, we're giving it to you straightforward. It's going to be damaging wind anywhere from 60 to 80 miles per hour, maybe some locally higher amounts to the south of the Quad Cities. And we have that potential for a few tornadoes and hail as well. So just kind of take that and take that information. Derecho, it could be classified perhaps tomorrow. That's got to be officially done by the Storm Prediction Center. So hopefully that kind of eases your mind a little bit. We're not trying to scare anyone here, just trying to prepare you for the potential weather. So timing for Muscatine and Anawan. So I'll kind of wrap this up here. So for Muscatine, likely between 8 and 9 o'clock, we'll start to see those storms roll through. And then for Anawan, I would say between 9:30 and 11 for the timing of those storms there. And again, same in Kewaunee, Matthew, probably that 9:30 to 11 o'clock time frame. Very hard to get really specific with your town on the exact timing, but just to stay weather aware, I assume a watch will be issued, whether it's a severe thunderstorm or tornado watch rather. It will be issued here probably within the next few hours here to kind of give you a heads up that you need to pay attention to the weather. So again, just have multiple alerts available, and we'll continue to have updates here on KWQC on air and online. So follow us for more.